Hey everybody, warmer days are upon us. That means a few things. Evals may be here. You might be looking at spring hockey, you might be even looking forward to summer hockey. You know, when it gets to the off season, I always like to present you with alternative options to just being on the ice all the time because you deserve a break too. And what we do in my house for my son, who's a goalie, and my daughter, who's a skater, is use NHL Sense Arena, our title sponsor, as many of you know. And they just launched a new goalie mindset training with Pete Fry, which is all about building composure, focus, and emotional control that goalies need in big moments. And then for the skaters, they've really updated Dangle Pro with full ice scanning. So now you're not just standing still stick handling in isolation. You're handling the puck while scanning, making reads, and training your awareness like you would in a real game. And again, this uses mixed reality. So you're actually stick handling with your real stick and a puck. You can see it around virtual objects. It's super fun and it's super nuts. We shared some videos with that. I wish I had that as a kid. Check these deals out. They're offering 50% off an annual plan compared to paying monthly. Plus, you get a free hockey training ball, a free green biscuit, and free shipping on that. Or if you go all in with a 2-year subscription, you can get a new MetaQuest 3S headset for $100. That's $900 in savings. I have never seen them offer the headset for that price. So if that's what's been holding you up, this is the time to get it because it all is going to add up. All right. Head to nhl.sensearena.com/OKPH and use the promo code OKPH to save an additional $25 on top of the offers I've already mentioned. We have always loved NHL Sense Arena's belief in us and what we do as a show, and we always appreciate your belief in us as well. This is a great deal. Go check it out. And as always, enjoy this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world, and welcome back to another edition of the Ride to the Rink. We're so excited to have another retired NHL player with us today, Mike Knuble, who played many NHL games in the league with several teams that you know, had a long tenured career, known as a little bit of a hard-nosed grinder, right? Going to the net, getting the rebounds, finding ways to play in the game. Detroit Red Wings player, won a Stanley Cup with them back in 1998. Just sitting it up for you kids. The guy probably knows what he's talking about. So, Mike, the first thing I want to ask you when we talk to these kids is we talked about going to the hard areas and how rebounds happen in the hard areas and that it should be really an essential part of everybody's game to learn to go to the net. Obviously, we're talking skaters, but this benefits goalies too, right? Can you talk to the kids for a few minutes about why that's a very important habit and maybe even some of the bad habits that we see that they should think to remove from their game to get better in that area?
Right, right. So some of you guys, some of the kids out there, you're like, wow, man, I just can't. I don't score very many goals. I like to score some more goals. I'm sorry. It's just not going in for me. I don't get any chances. So then you go back and you look and you're like, okay, all right, let's figure out why we're not scoring goals. So I've had players say, I'm not scoring goals. And be like, well, look, you're standing over here. The puck is on its way to the net, yet you're standing over in the corner, thinking that you're open for a pass. Meanwhile, the whole rink knows the puck is going to be going to the net, yet we're still standing in the corner, right? So these are things that, like, when we feel a shot on goal coming to the net, and being a hockey player and use our hockey senses, we've got to head to the net ourselves. So a thing I have for kids, a little mantra, a little trying to relate to kids. I'm like, so everybody knows sharks in the ocean, right? Sharks are in the ocean. They swim around the ocean. I'm like, do you think sharks just, and some people maybe listening who know me might have heard this before, but I said, do you think they just swim around the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean and they just hope to find a fish here and there? Or they, wow, I got lucky. Oh, there's a tuna over there. I finally get to eat. It's been 3 days. Or do you think that sharks kind of hang around in areas where the warm water is and the fish are going to eat and the fish have to come through to move to a new area? They all come through this area. If I was a shark, I'd probably hang out where all the fish are, right? If I wanted to get fed. Does that make sense? Same thing as a hockey player. If you're going to hang out in areas where the puck is very rarely coming or doesn't lead to a goal, like the corners, the sideboards, you're not going to score many goals. If you start hanging out in that area where the puck likes to hang around a lot and the puck tends to come into a little bit more, you're probably going to score some more goals. So for me, that's the easiest way to equate it. A shark wandering around the ocean, or do they hang out where all the fish are and get fed? As a player, do you hang out on the sideboards? Do you hang out away from the net? Or do you want to hang out in front of the net and where you're going to get fed as a hockey player? So those are things. The more you find yourself in that area where there's the food, the puck, where that you're hanging out there, you're going to find yourself getting fed more often. And I think that's a pretty easy way to understand and think about it as a young player these days.
Hey, Mike, it was well we have you here too. You know, your career evolved over the course of your playing time and the type of roles that you were asked to play and playing with different players in different systems in different cities. You know, what advice could you give to a youth player right now in embracing the opportunity to experiment in different roles and understand that their game is always evolving and they might not always be the type of player they think they are? How important it is for them to play within the team and the system that they're placed in.
Right, right. Always a difficult situation when your perception of yourself as a player might be different than what the team is seeing you as. And I even go back to, I mean, Steve Yzerman's a little bit too old for these guys, but even Sidney Crosby. I mean, Sidney Crosby is arguably one of the best players that ever played in the league, but he keeps evolving as a player, right? When he came in, he might have had, I think his first couple of years, he was light on the goals, a lot on the assists. People kept saying, well, Sidney Crosby, well, you're obviously not a goal scorer. And he was like, okay, well, maybe I need to score more goals. So he found a way to score more goals. Now, as a player, I think evolving and how you fit in and changing your game and picking up things as you go, adding to your repertoire as a player is super important. Now, you can get to one team one way. Maybe you're a pure goal scorer when you enter a new team, and that's how they recognize you, and that's how you got there, and you made the team as that. But as you get in and start playing, you realize, well, okay, so there's guys that are actually a little bit better scoring goals than me. I'm going to have to, if I want to play with those guys, maybe I got to work on my passing. Maybe I got to figure out a way to be a really good penalty killer. And so these are things that you have to adjust, and you call it self-awareness as a player, right? As a player, you've got to understand what you're good at, where your holes are. And it's very easy to go, and part of maturity as a player, it's very easy to go practice. I've got a heck of a wrist shot. Well, I tend to shoot my wrist shots a lot. That's very easy to practice. Well, I'm really not great at backward crossovers. Well, that's what you need to practice, right? The things you've got to find the things that you're not really good at, and make sure you harp on those. Very, very easy to go out and practice the things you're good at. That's fun. That's easy, a no-brainer. I can go out and do that all day. Lots of fun. It's hard to find the things that you're not good at and work on those, and maybe fail and maybe not be as good and maybe have some failure and some tough times with it before you cross over that barrier and start to get better. And so I think as a player, that's part of your maturity and part of your growth as a player is to figure out what you need to do better as a player and how to go about doing that. And whether you need help, whether you can figure that on your own, or you need to ask a coach or ask somebody who's close to you, who you trust, who gives you a pretty honest assessment of your game, that's how you need to figure out and how you get better.
Yeah, Mike, and to the kids listening, you might be wondering, how do I go about that? Well, let me tell you the first thing. Games are not the time to try something you've never tried before, right? Mike made a great point. Go to your coach and ask that question of, hey, what are the bad habits I have to break, or what's something you'd like to see me work on? Get it from the coach's mouth. They'll probably give you drills or even create drills for their practice to give you the reps to work on them. That's number one. Number two is you cannot be afraid to fail at the things you're not good at. You're not going to get any better if you don't fail over and over again. You brought up Sidney Crosby. It's a great example. I remember him working on his backhand early in his career to become really the greatest backhand shooter probably of all time, working on his face-offs to become better at that. The guy still works. So kids, it's a constant journey of finding things to improve on, and you're not going to be awesome at it at first. I will also say this, that when the three of us were kids and you still have this ability with even more tools at your disposal, we would go outside and practice things with a ball or eventually a puck, just finding ways to work on those reps over and over again to find ways to get better at something we're not. And again, it doesn't mean you can't spend time getting good at the things you're good at either, right? I'm pretty sure Alex Ovechkin probably still works on his shot. I mean, he's as close to a perfected shot as you can get. All right. But I'm sure he leans in on getting better every single day. So, Mike, I'll let you have the final word, but I just wanted those kids to understand look, it takes a little bit of guts to say, hey, I'm not good at something, and then to work on it. And it doesn't mean you got to sacrifice working on the things you're good at. But if you want to be really noticed, I'll say that too, you got to find ways to become well-rounded, especially in youth hockey. And as you get older, some of your skill sets will shine through and help you find ways in other lineups, but you got to work on all of it when you're young.
Right, right. And, for the kids, you might hear this term, maybe the older ones will get it. It's called ownership, right? And so you're taking ownership of your career, and it's very difficult to sit in a room or to hear somebody say what you don't do well or what you're not good at. And it's very difficult to hear. But as you take ownership of your career, those are the things you have to say, and you have to walk away and you have to think about it, and you say, okay, I'm going to figure out how to improve on that. I need to improve on that. If this person who I trust and I respect is telling me this, then I need to really work on that. And that is taking ownership of your career, because at some point, you're going to get to a point where practice isn't going to be enough. You're going to have to go to the gym. Who's going to make you go to the gym? When you get older, 15 and 16, you are. That's taking ownership of your career. Who's going to help you get stronger? Nobody but yourself. That's taking ownership of your career. So that's a very difficult thing for a young player to understand. It's no longer mom and dad driving to the rink. The next level, and for the kids that move on, they take ownership of their careers and they figure out what they need to work on, what they're good at, and what they need to improve on. And that's the never-ending journey of being a good hockey player.
Now just play that on loop, that last piece, just play it on loop. And then, and just, use that as the motivation to understand that you're going to have to do things that other players when you walk in the locker room tonight and you get in the room, there are going to be a lot of players in there that won't make the sacrifice that you want to make in order to get where you want to get to. Don't be intimidated by that. Don't be embarrassed by that. If you have a motivation and a goal and a desire to get better, follow Mike's advice, put yourself in a different mindset, and then really focus on that mission and that goal. Don't worry about all the other noise that's happening with other players in your team, because it really is irrelevant to your development.
Kids, wherever you're at on your hockey journey, we all want you to know we believe in you. You should too. All right, enjoy your hockey, enjoy your day, go out there and learn something and have fun. For Mike Knuble and Mike Benelli, I'm Lee Elias. We will see you on the next Ride to the Rink. Take care, everybody.